I don't know. I have to talk to those guys if I'm allowed to tell you. Jimmy, what do you want me to say the top speed in the trophy truck was?
Like the tornadoes?
Tornado. Yo. What up? Just coming down to the shop right now here at my house, race shop, for you who don't know. But I kind of just want to show you guys a little of what's happened in the shop today. We just finished the Baja 400, I guess a week and a half ago. So truck is getting fully torn down. We got some other projects going, and then I posted a thing on my Instagram asking some questions, so answer some of your guys' questions and give you a little more insight of what's happening here at the Polvoorde race shop. Let's head in because it's hot. Working in the dark, but right here, got the race truck, which you can see is fully pretty much torn down already. Everything's getting sent out to get inspected. We can kind of dive in. So one thing they do immediately, A-arms, shocks, all that stuff. The A-arms get sent out to be scanned for cracks, put through a machine, make sure there's no micro cracks, stuff like that. Shocks get sent out to Fox to get rebuilt. And then just everything gets disassembled and all that fun stuff. But we can just keep cruising by there. Even got some new fancy trailing arms. Pretty exciting. Nice and shiny still, as you can see. Baja does numbers on them. That's what we were just talking this morning. This thing has like, I think these have like 4,000 miles on them. So pretty beat. Fuel cells coming out just to be inspected before the 1,000. The 1,000's such a long race. We like to just dot our I's, cross our T's for everything. But yeah, kind of the shop. It's kind of messy right now. During teardown, everything's just getting thrown around. But then got the F100 here for off-road expos this weekend. So got some 40s on that thing, some fresh Toyo 40s straight off the race truck. Then they're gonna clean that up tonight and be ready. What up, Jimmy? We're filming a little. Check out the back of the shop. We have this poor Bronco, which has just been pushed in the corner. Everyone asks about it, so I'm gonna do a build update one of these days on it. But right now with all the racing and everything, we just kind of push the poor girl in the corner. But she still looks good. But something's wrong with the motor. I don't know if I mentioned that in a past video, but we thought it was pretty much done. Went to start it, and it went and there was like grinding, and so we pulled apart. Looks like something that we gotta pull the whole motor out before we can really dive in. Looks like a push rod or something was wrong. We bought the motor, it was brand new, but it had never been ran or anything. And someone built it, and we think they have the wrong part numbers. So that was really unfortunate, but we'll just kind of go on back. This is kind of just where all our storage is, nothing really fancy, but Raptor, just cleaned it up after the 400, one of our Chase Raptors. We can go in, I'll show you the chase trucks, and then that's pretty much the shop right now. Moving in here, one of our Razors. That one didn't get ran too much, so kind of just, that thing just needs a quick prep and it'll be down for the 1,000 pre-run. And then our chase trucks, which these full-blown chase trucks, we have two matching ones. So they're just getting cleaned, make sure inventories, everything's up to stock. We have full inventory lists on all of the trucks. Open. So after every race, the guys come through, make sure this is what they went to the race with, and so make sure if they used anything, make sure it gets restocked, reorganized after a couple 100 or 1,000 miles down Baja. Everything seems to move. And then our last big chase truck, that's pretty much all that happens here, nothing too fancy. But now, let's sit down, answer some of you guys' questions. I think it's gonna be kind of fun. I kind of glanced at a couple of them, and definitely some interesting ones, but I haven't read them all yet, so it's gonna be kind of a first impressions, and Hopefully none of them are too bad. I don't mean to interrupt, but did you know this is the last time you're gonna be able to buy Christopher Polvoorde merch like this? Limited quantities. So go to ChristopherPolvoorde.com and get yours while they last. All right, let's dive into these. Some of these I've seen, some I haven't, but I'm just gonna go straight off Instagram. And let's see, so will you run the Baja 1000 alone or will you team up with someone else? Well, this isn't announced yet. So I can't tell you who I'm gonna run it with, but I am gonna run it with someone else. I just think the Baja 1000 is just too long right now, and the pace in this trophy truck spec class is like so fast that after 400 or 500 miles, you get pretty fatigued. So pushing on to another 500 miles, I think I'm just gonna lose too much speed to really be competitive. So that's why I'm gonna split it into two. There'll be one other driver plus me, and stay tuned because we're gonna release that soon. Okay, from Karen, how are you? Pretty good, Karen, pretty good. Have you done much desert racing before the 6100 truck? Why not? So before the 6100, I hadn't raced a ton in the desert. It's just not what I grew up in. I grew up in short course, so that was kind of my bread and butter, you can say. I did Norra in my F100 in 2018. That was kind of my first taste of true desert race, but wasn't fully. And then I raced for the Honda off-road team for a little in a UTV. I think I did 3 races in that. So that was my little bit of desert experience, but kind of just dove straight into the 6100. And if not, what made you jump into the 6100? I drove straight into the 6100 or trophy truck spec just because it's an awesome, like, competitive class. There's a lot of really fast guys in it. It's a little bit more affordable, but it's still one of the top, premier classes, and it's been pretty exciting. Can't answer that one on camera. Besides being an outdoor enthusiast, what other aspirations do you have? That's a good question. Besides doing things outdoors, I mean, I love being outside, so that's one. Another thing a lot of people don't know, I love to fly. Yeah, for me, flying is, I guess, my other hobby that's not outdoorsy. Like, I like to mountain bike, ski, stuff like that. That's more outdoorsy. But yeah, actually today I just did my first solo cross country in a plane. So working on getting my pilot's license, my private pilot. And then a huge goal of mine is to work up into a helicopter. Had the opportunity to fly a helicopter for the first time earlier this year, and ever since that I've just been obsessed because it's just a really cool feeling. And yeah, so now I'm addicted and I haven't even got to go fully in. Top speed in the Spec TT. I don't know. I have to talk to those guys if I'm allowed to tell you. It's big numbers, but no. Top speed in the trophy truck spec. Jimmy, what do you want me to say the top speed in the trophy truck was?
120.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
130.
Really get with the people. 130, you heard it there. He looks at the data. I don't think I've ever added to 120, have I?
Right there.
119, so I'll just say 119, which, and that thing feels like you're going pretty fast. So I couldn't imagine, like, you hear the trophy truck guys going 145, 150, like, at 119, like, your helmet's like, we don't have a windshield, so it's just straight, but yeah, 119. Highest oil temperature in a race. Engine oil? Jimmy, did you ever look at what the oil temp went to in Crandon? So highest oil temperature in a race was just recent that I saw this for engine oil. Crandon 2022 Cup race got rear-ended, blew out our radiators, blew out our fans, and the motor engine oil got up to about like 298-ish, almost 300. And she did that for a couple laps, and then it blew up actually with one corner to go, and I was able to coast and like putt through the finish line. So yeah, shut up and get back to work. Thanks, Hunter. Favorite racing memory? This one's always tough. There's so many good memories in racing, but I'd probably say my favorite 2019 Crandon World Cup. I had just won 8 races in a row, and it's just one of those memories. It was right at the finish line, and I just remember so much weight getting taken off my chest, and it's kind of weird. Like, I don't even remember a lot of that day. Like, it was one of those memories where it was like so epic. Like, I was just like in the now. But that was a huge accomplishment. Won my first pro championship, won 8 races in a row, and had a perfect season, which like really hadn't been done. I'd won every race, and it was just one of those moments where the team, everyone came together, and yeah, I can still kind of picture it. Like, I get the chills almost just talking about it. Crandon's something special, and that was just the cherry on top. Do you miss the Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series? Yeah, no, I definitely miss the off-road Lucas series. It was so much fun back in the day. That's where I grew up racing, and it was good times. It was definitely one of those things we didn't realize how good it was when it was there, and super thankful for Lucas Oil for putting on such a great series for so many years. But yeah, I miss, you know, racing under lights with 25, 30 pro lights. That was definitely some good times, and it'll always have something in my heart because that's where I grew up. It's where all my friends were made. It's family, so yeah, I miss it. What is your reaction to the Mason two-wheel drive? Know that you've been in it for a while. Pros and cons. Overall, the Mason Gen 2 Trophy Truck Spec, I really love it. It's a two-wheel drive with a spec motor, but overall, I mean, I haven't driven a ton of other trucks, so I can't give you like, compared to this or that, but it's extremely stable. Corner's really good. For how big it is, it still seems really nimble. Doesn't have too much, doesn't do too much crazy weight change. For me, I just feel like it's a really easy truck to drive. Jumping into the Trophy Truck Spec, I was expecting like a way bigger, just like boaty feel, and this thing, still for how big it is, it feels so sporty. And I know it's definitely a heavier truck. So overall, I'd buy it again, no questions asked. It's been extremely good to me, and the boys over at Mason, they know their stuff, and they're super helpful. So that's a huge plus, because when you buy a truck, you know, you don't want to be stuck with where you're trying to recreate parts. When we need something, they're right there on the phone, and usually they have it sitting on the shelf. What is the best ice fishing trip you've ever had? So this is my aunt. She's referring to, we were up in Alaska last year or 2 years ago, and we were on a boat going through a glacier. So we were on a boat going through a glacier, and there's like icebergs everywhere to get up to the glacier. And me, my buddy Bryce, and a bunch of my uncles and aunts and cousins, we decided we were gonna like try to bring on this giant iceberg onto our boat so we could like carve it. And it was like 45-minute ordeal trying to get this iceberg that was like this big onto the boat. We did it. It was very successful. So that's my best ice fishing story. West Coast short course. I assume they're asking if I was gonna race it. Right now, no more West Coast short course for me. Just not in the schedule. I miss it. I definitely like racing so close to home, but right now it's not looking like that's in our schedule, but who knows? It's 2022 and 2023, so anything could happen. What's your scariest experience in Baja? Oof, scariest Baja experience. Okay, yeah, if you were going for kind of a scary, a little freaky, like your typical Baja scary story, we were out pre-running in San Felipe, and we were in the middle of nowhere, and San Felipe is very deserty, but we're kind of in this wash going up, and all of a sudden, like, all these dudes come running down the hill, and I'm just like, what's going on? And they're like, surround us, and I'm like, okay, like, this is not good. And then you can tell these guys they're not the friendliest. They're definitely trouble. And then they're all yelling at us in Spanish and stuff, and basically, sounds like they were down there doing like a drug run. Something happened. They bailed, and they were like begging us for water because they've been out there for days, and they're trying to like get us to give them a ride into town. And I'm like, no room, da da da. And I really genuinely thought they were gonna like jack us. And I was like, hey, I got a cooler in the back. You can have some water, agua. And they opened up the cooler because I was just like strapped in. I didn't want to get out of the car because I was like, too risky. I was like, grabbed some waters. They grabbed every single one of my waters, Gatorades, whole 9 yards. I was like, okay, cool, but I'm not gonna argue with you, like, cause they were like, the one had like full grill, and they were just like, but they were raggedy. They'd been out there for a couple days, so kind of did that, and then like I bailed, and then the car that was with me was having issues. Like he was like couldn't go, and they're like surrounding him, and then finally he was like able to go, and we just bailed out. But that was definitely a little freaky for me. I didn't enjoy that, but that's Baja for you. Sketchy is in-car moment. I mean, there's definitely sketchy times, like when you come over in Baja and you're at race pace, you're in the race truck, you're in the dust, and then all of a sudden there's something, either it being a spectator or another race car like that. That's definitely some like moments where you're like, holy cow, like it kind of freaks you out a little, because like pushing through the dust so many times, like you can't see, and you're really just trusting, and then all of a sudden there's like a bike. Like I had a really scary moment actually at the Baja 1000. We were running down, it was almost to the finish last year, so almost to La Paz, ripping through these big whoops, and I catch a slower bike, and you can tell he's tired, whole 9 yards. So he goes to pull off, and like we're going somewhat slow. I always try, at this point, we weren't in the contention for the win, so I was like, gonna give this guy some time, no reason to ruin his day. He goes to pull off, and it's kind of sandy, and like he gets off the trail, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like scoot around him. We like swaps out as I'm passing him, and he ejects into the road, and I like slid in a big truck like this. I literally slid to a stop and like tapped him and his bike, and I couldn't see over the hood, and I was just like, holy cow, what just happened? But I didn't feel like anything go up and over. And then luckily he like kind of climbed back up, and I like backed up, and then he like grabbed his bike and walked out. But that was like extremely scary, because like the dude literally like swapped out and like ejected into front of the truck, and like at that point I thought I was kind of clear, but luckily I like wasn't up to too much speed yet. So yeah, that was a little scary. Why are you the way that you are? Good question. So I don't know. It's just the way I am. A lot to do with my dad. My dad's very high paced like I am, so definitely him. And then some of my like, if you're going for like racing wise, my competitiveness is a lot of my mother. My mother, she's very quiet and everything, but behind the scenes, extremely competitive. She like does CrossFit, and like CrossFit, she like throws elbows on other women, if you could have that. Could I be part of your chase team in the Baja races? We're always looking for chase guys. Send me your resume, and you could be at the next one. How is your Spanish progress going? My Spanish. For as much time I spent in Mexico, my Spanish should be way better, like way up here, but I just can't get it to click yet. I can understand some, definitely can't speak much. I always say I can speak enough just to keep me out of jail, but sometimes that it makes it worse. So a lot of times I just shut up when the cops say anything to me. But Spanish progress, not well. If anyone wants to tutor me, hit me up. How did you get started in racing? Funny story for me, no one in my family's ever raced before, so that's kind of not your traditional story, but actually someone owed my dad money and traded him a trophy cart for rent money. And we started just playing around with it, and it was just kind of for fun. If I did good in school, we could go play with the trophy cart, whole 9 yards, that. But then it just started getting out of control, snowballing. And in the beginning, I was really bad. It was pretty sad. But then slowly just kept doing more and more, and next thing you know, it snowballed. Then I jumped up to a mod cart, then a pro light, and then now we're here. Now it's out of control, and it's all I think about. How much was your 6100? Too much, definitely. I don't have an exact number on it, but go on Race Desert and you can kind of figure out what the price ranges are, but definitely not cheap. Okay, so what did you first race? I started first racing in a Junior 1 trophy cart, one of the OG ones where it had a spare tire on the back, whole 9 yards, just a miniature trophy truck. Yeah, fun little thing, a 10 horsepower, basically lawnmower engine, belt driven, double chain, and just kind of a big old boat. It didn't work very well. Do you believe in aliens? Aliens. That's what your definition of aliens is. I mean, you know, the more Joe Rogan I listen to, definitely plausible. Or if that's a word, I don't know. Yeah, but definitely could be out there. If I saw one, I definitely wouldn't be surprised. Are they, you know, the little green thing with antennas? I doubt it, but who knows? Who knows? My big question is, like, if we ever do find one, like, how are we going to communicate with them? If my team doesn't race the Baja 1000, can I tag along and help you guys? For sure, Josh, hit me up. Always looking for really good chase guys like you. Can I drive your race truck? No. But, no. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sorry, no. It takes a lot for me to let someone drive it. But I always joke around, if you can start it, you can drive it. But the new race truck's a lot easier to start, so can't say that as much as it used to be. But do you remember when we used to play Minecraft when we were little? Go see who it is. Bailey? Oh yeah. Dude, Minecraft. It was a good time. I wasn't actually much of a gamer growing up, but I did have Minecraft for a little. Some like bootleg one on my computer in middle school. When are you gonna throw a Gibbs engine in the TT Spec? Good question, Andy. As soon as you give me one of your extra ones, because right now I can't afford to buy one of those things. But a Gibbs engine is a new engine. A lot of guys like Andy McMillan are running their trophy trucks. I'd love to. I want to go play with trophy truck. You should just let me drive your trophy truck. That'd be just a lot easier. You know, get up to speed faster. Did you grow up in Hemet? Yeah, Hemet, born and raised. Still live here. 951, watch out. What is the farthest you've jumped a four-wheel vehicle? That's a good question. I mean, I've never got out and like put the tape measure, but I mean, one of the biggest, like, in short course we used to hit in Missouri, it was like a 250-foot booter we'd hit in a pro light, which was pretty solid. You were floating. You had a lot of hang time. And what's trippy in Missouri, it's flat, you know? It's completely flat. So when we would jump and you'd be floating, you could see just for as far as you can imagine. Like, when we used to jump big here in Lake Elsinore, there's mountains in front of you. So you kind of had like a perspective, like of, okay, how I'm flying, where I'm at, and just, you know, a rough thing. In Missouri, you jump and you'd have so much airtime. You'd like be looking around and all you could see was tops of trees and just for miles, just clear sky. So that was a little freaky, but that was a big one. A couple years ago, or last year at Vegas to Reno, I hit a really big booter. Not the one that went viral on Instagram and all that. That one was big, but I hit an even bigger one. And it was really big, really big. That one had some serious airtime, enough that me and my co-driver were like, man, this is pretty big. And this might not end well. So that was one of them. Top speed, air, land, and sea. For air, the one time I was flying right seat in a plane and we were doing like 400 miles an hour. That was pretty cool. We had a tailwind. It was in a turboprop, so that was, for a turboprop, that's scooting pretty good. Land, I've done like 100 and I think like 55 in a Mustang on Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. That was pretty exciting. Getting to drive on the actual F1 track in a Ford Mustang, straight off the showroom. So that was definitely fun. Sea. I haven't gone really fast personally, but I was in a boat one time and we did 118. Yeah, 118, which isn't the fastest, but on water, I was like, holy cow, this is insane. It was definitely a wild feeling, and it was in a smaller boat. It was like 32-foot DCB, and we were scooting. How do you see the track through all the dust? Baja looks insane with all the dust. It's definitely hard. That's definitely one thing that I've not been used to. Baja is so dusty. Any desert racing is extremely dusty, and yeah, it definitely takes time to learn how to read the terrain, but a lot of times you are driving blind, being 100% honest. You're trusting that you went down there pre-run, you have good notes next to you, but One trick that I always use is like if you're going through trees or like going through mountainsides, you can look at the things around you because you can usually see your windows. You know, the dust you can kind of start to pick up as things are closer. So if you can pick up the trees like right at this part versus this, you can kind of be like, okay, I'm still in the center of the road, stuff like that. But no, a lot of times it's tough. And then the best part is like when you're pushing through the dust and then you catch someone, you can see their taillights. And as soon as you focus in on their taillights, you just focus and you just, everything that taillight does, you do. You just replicate and you just pray they don't drive off a cliff or something. You're just following them. But usually once you get that taillight, you can suck them in and then nerf them. And then hopefully they move and then you got clean air. How tall am I? On a good day, almost 6 foot, but realistically about 5'11". Why don't you like Carmel M&Ms? This is a hot topic in the race team. I don't dislike Carmel M&Ms. They're just not my favorite. You know, if I walked into a store and there's caramel M&Ms, peanut M&Ms, and peanut butter M&Ms, I'm definitely not picking caramel. You know, I'm gonna go peanut, then peanut butter, and then caramel. But I mean, I do like the caramel, but it's not gonna stretch that I love it. So, at what age did you start competing? I started competing racing off-road when I was about, I think I had just turned 10 years old. So yeah, started around 10, I'm now 22, so more than half my life I've been driving race cars. Am I racing Norra? Sadly, no Norra this year. I really wish I could. Norra's so much fun. Talked about going down and helping chase people, but no Norra for me personally this year. Where am I in points? I'm first in score points overall and first in Trophy Truck Spec after the 400. So definitely exciting, but now it's a little nerve-wracking going into the 1,000. But we're just gonna go have a good race and worry about the points later. Am I going to the gas race this weekend? No, I'm not gonna be at the gas race. I will be at the Off-Road Expo, but by this time the video comes out, it's gonna be after. So no gas race for me, and no, I'll just be at the Off-Road Expo. Any questions, Bryson? Before we wrap, any questions for you?
You want to do a phone-in question, Bryson?
I think I'm all good. I don't know. How do you prefer hot dogs or corn dogs?
Hot dogs or corn dogs?
Yeah, man.
Oh, like gas station? Or are we talking like fresh
Stop.
truck stop corn dog?
Audible fucking tacos.
The tacos at the gas station?
No.
Hey, mini tacos at 7-Eleven.
I said Bryson asked corn dogs or hot dogs, and you just said tacos.
Yeah, no, I would say corn dogs from a truck stop for sure. The hot dogs always just look too grody. The jalapeno
Corn
cheese.
dogs are so good.
Dude, the corn dogs are pretty. Or like, what about the sketchy taquitos?
Those are good, like the tornadoes are good.
Tornado.
I've mowed down a bunch of those things before.
There's a reason why it's called tornado.
All right, I think that's a wrap on the question and answers. If you guys have more questions, drop them down below, and we'll do another one in a couple months. But it's kind of fun catching up. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications, that little bell, so then every time I post, you can see my beautiful face. Yeah.